Welcome to my Burning Crusade Magtheridon's raid guide. When you move into his room, you'll notice 5 Hellfire channelers. Don't worry, these won't be pulled unless one of your raid members decide to attack one of them. Then all 5 will be pulled at the exact same time. So before you pull, make sure that every single raid member is at the correct location. What do we need to be aware of? Well, Hellfire channelers is doing Shadow Bolt Volley, which deals a high amount of damage to any nearby player, and Dark Mending that heals the channeler. The great thing is that both of these things can be interrupted, so make sure you assign people to interrupt these, and your warlocks can be using this curse to increase the channeler's casting time. Once in a while, random raid members will be feared. Exactly why shamans gotta make sure they're using their tremor totems and priest their fear wards. Yet another thing to be aware of is that burning abyssals will be spawned. It's important that all your warlocks is banishing these, else they will be chasing your healers and dealing a high amount of damage, resulting in your raid wiping. Next, you gotta assign who is going to tank each individual channelers, and remember all of them will be pulled at the exact same time, so make sure your hunters is misdirecting to the correct target. Moving on to Magtheridon, an important mechanics you gotta be aware of. He will once in a while start channeling this Blast Nova. It deals a high amount of AoE damage to all raid members and will kill you if you don't deal with it. The way you deal with this mechanic is to ensure all 5 cubes is being activated at the exact same time. But you can't just assign 5 people to take care of this, as you will receive a 3-minute debuff where you can't use the cube, so you will need to have another 5 people ready for the next Blast Nova. By the way, those players clicking the orbs will receive damage every second, so as a healer you gotta be aware of who you need to spam heal. Make sure to avoid the fire on the ground, or you'll receive a high amount of damage over 8 seconds. Meanwhile, you won't be able to perform any actions beside Ice Block and Bubble. Pretty much every 45 seconds he does Quake. This is an ability where you'll be thrown around for the next 7 seconds, and meanwhile you gotta pay attention to the fire underground, but you won't have time to stand still and cast anything beside instant attacks and spells. Those of you tanking Magtheridon gotta make sure you're never facing him towards the raid, as he has a cleave mechanic, so in this case you should try to face him towards the wall. The last mechanic you gotta be aware of is the debris falling down, which happens the moment Magtheridon gets close to 30% health, or well, when he transitions into phase 3. This will deal a high amount of damage to all raid members and stun everyone for 2 seconds. Alright, so in the beginning you would like to kill the Hellfire channelers as quickly as possible. Remember to interrupt Dark Mending and Shadow Bolt Volley, and try to cleave 2 or 3 if possible, and make sure as a hunter to misdirect to the different tanks. Warlocks will need to banish the different abyssals, and as a hunter, keep a misdirect for when Magtheridon will be attackable to ensure the tank getting a high amount of threat. Assign 3 people to each individual cube, so you always have someone ready to interrupt the Blast Nova. Yeah, the tank is able to assist with this as well. Don't forget that in phase 3, the debris does a high amount of raid damage, so as a healer, you need to focus on getting as many people to a high amount of health before this happens. I hope you enjoyed my first Burning Crusade raid guide. Soon I'll release a lot of other useful videos you definitely don't want to miss, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!